It's December 31st, 2017. You're getting ready to host your annual New Year's Eve party after you finish watching the Cleveland Browns play and reach a historic 0-16 season. On your way back from the grocery store with chips, pizza, and booze in tow, you see a notification pop up in your phone from your favorite content creator, Logan Paul. Although you know you shouldn't be looking at videos while you're on the road, you are a staunch member of the Low Gang, so you excitedly go into your sub box to check it out. You scroll down until you see the thumbnail. And then you see the thumbnail. You're stopped at a red light, so you examine it closer as there's absolutely no chance that what you were seeing in front of you is correct. It has to be clickbait or something, right? But as you click on the video and skim through to the point of 5 minutes and 42 seconds, you realize that the video is in fact everything that you inferred from the thumbnail. You stare down the highway in shock and disbelief as the video plays in your cup holder, and as Logan and his friends continue to make abhorrent comments and jokes after making the discovery. The video finally comes to an end as you pull into the parking lot of your apartment, and you sit there for a moment, still completely bewildered by what you've just witnessed. And one singular thought comes to the forefront of your mind. There is no way that he comes back from this. It's June 6th, 2021. You just finished watching the epic conclusion to the first round series between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. You look down at your phone to tweet about the game, realize what time it is, and go upstairs to get ready. You get dressed, get the sandwiches that you had made this morning, sneak in and hop in your car in the same old parking lot at the same old apartment building. You ride around town and pick up a couple of your best friends who you convinced to go with you, even though they were incredibly hesitant to agree because they just don't know about this whole thing. You arrive at the theater 15 minutes early, present your tickets to the ticket taker, and nestle yourself into the back left corner of the packed crowd, ready to watch Logan Paul take on what most people consider to be the best boxer alive, Floyd Mayweather. You look around. You even see a couple of people wearing Maverick merchandise in the center. Then you remember that fateful day 3.5 years ago. And you ask yourself, how in the world did we get here? It's a fact that everyone on the internet loves a good comeback story, and with cancel culture at a peak level right now, that's a very hard thing to do online. It's really hard to imagine that 3.5 years ago, the man who was just on the nationally televised program The Masked Singer was being blackballed from the entire industry. Not only would nobody take him on in a business venture, but nobody wanted to even hear a word he spoke. In fact, I'd argue that it might be the biggest cancellation of all time, as the actions that Logan Paul took in that forest reverberated and followed him around for years. Meanwhile, David Dobrik almost kills his friend with seemingly no remorse whatsoever, and he gets to come back 4 months after being called out and pull 5.4 million views. The only difference? Before the cancellation, Dobrik was a hero and Paul was a villain. Anyways, this video isn't me dunking on David Dobrik, although I would love to partake in that at a later date. This video is about the mesmerizing redemption arc of Logan Paul. I've been wanting to write this video 3 separate times, but every time I felt like doing so, something would happen to add to the weird and constantly evolving path that Paul was trailblazing. So, where do we start? I guess at the beginning, or something like that. I think what people fail to realize when retelling this story is how amazing of a year 2017 was for Logan Paul. The man was putting out daily vlogs, which is an incredibly strenuous task on its own, but he also managed to pull at least roughly 5 million views per video. Let me give you an idea about how insane that is. Assuming that his CPM is at least $1 per 1,000 views, which, let's be honest, it's probably more than that due to the family-friendly nature of his vlog content, family-friendly being in parentheses, and that he uploaded every day for a year, which I am for sure not willing to check, he would have made, at minimum, $1,825,000 that year on AdSense. That doesn't include any other income streams, so that number is at least doubled. And all of that gets taken away in the blink of an eye. YouTube takes him off of Google Preferred, cancels his movie release, and Logan takes his place as the #1 villain on the platform, slowly fading into irrelevance. So where does the trajectory start to shift? The clear answer to that is the KSI fight. Although this didn't help him from a hero narrative perspective, as nearly every single person on the internet was rooting for KSI, it did help him maintain a place in the spotlight at a point where everyone was attempting to stop him from doing so. I honestly believe that he wouldn't have recovered to the level that he has without the fight, as 1.3 million pay-per-view buys is one of the biggest jolts to the system possible. You can also see that during the months leading up to the fight, the videos about it were generally pulling a couple million views more than his others, with the biggest being a KSI diss track that amassed 35 million views, the most he has received on a single video since his apology for The Forest. Then, a couple months later, he seemed to be released from YouTube's death grip, as his postponed film The Thinning 2 was released on YouTube Premium. The next month, he started a podcast with his co-hosts Mike Malak and Spencer Taylor, which, although it has gone through many changes in hosts and some turbulent times, is still airing on YouTube weekly to this day. However, none of this had gotten me interested in Logan. Impulsive is a pretty good show, but it was rather rough at the beginning as the synergy and chemistry was still working itself out. The rest of his content wasn't as insufferable as it was back in 2017, but it was still missing that air of authenticity that most YouTubers his size are void of. It was a bit of a slower pace, but I still couldn't see much of a change. Then it all changed. On March 20th of 2019, I saw a video in my recommendations by Logan titled Flat Earth to the Edge and Back. This piqued my interest because I had heard about the drama with Logan attending the Flat Earth Society convention, as every single drama and commentary channel had covered it, ridiculing Logan to the end of the earth for his beliefs. So I clicked on it, and you need to understand the statement that I am about to make has no hyperbole in it. It's as serious as I can be. That Flat Earth movie, video, documentary, whatever you want to call it, is one of the best videos to ever be put on YouTube. If someone like iDubbbz had released it, everyone would herald it as an internet classic. The production value, the editing, the acting, the story, even the humor, and the writing was leagues above 99% of the content on this site. Seriously, there are jokes in there that are gut-busting and surrealist in a style that I have never seen Logan approach since, let alone master on his first try. The best part of this video, however, isn't even the masterful technical aspects of it. The best part is the way in which Logan genuinely tricked the people at the convention and the people seeing the aftermath of the convention before the video was released in such a convincing manner. It blew my mind how incredible of a feat that was. I rewatched the video in preparation for this video, and I can 100% say that it is still as brilliant as I thought it was the first time I watched it. So needless to say, I was 100% interested in the Logan Paul saga at that point. Instead of leaning into rebuilding his image in the vein of an altruistic good guy, he leaned into the other side of using what the media thinks about him and became a filthy Frank-esque troll. So I decided to do something that I never thought in a million years that I would do. I subscribed to Logan Paul Vlogs. In the upcoming months, I decided to tune into videos whenever they showed up in my sub box to determine whether he was on the right path or not, content-wise. And I noticed two significant changes. One, the production quality and editing went through the roof, not only compared to his own previous content, but just vlogging in general. The video in which I came to this realization was a video released 3 months after the Flat Earth video called We Threw the World's Best Party. At the end of said video, there's a montage that, due to the cinematography and editing, I kid you not, is immaculate. Sure, the stuff going on in said video isn't necessarily cinematic in itself, but the production certainly makes it seem that way. 2. Logan loses a little bit of his persona. I mean, he's still using the same lines and doing things that are insane, but he's not constantly screaming and has calmed himself down to a reasonable level. Was this to help him avoid doing anything completely heinous like the Forest video? I personally think so, and it kind of worked. From June to November of 2019, he kept himself really busy fighting KSI again and putting on the Challenger Games, which, if you think about it, was one of the only YouTube events that was pulled off pretty effortlessly. Now, that's all I have to say for the content side of things, as since then he has posted relatively the same type of content. I think it's safe to say that he definitely found redemption in that realm. That's not the main place that people have cited as Logan Paul finding redemption, though. With this, we're going to shift our focus over to his podcast, Impulsive. For the past year and a half or so, Logan has been slowly gaining credibility through statements that he has been making on there. The most prominent of these is a speech about racism after the George Floyd murder, which was backed up by him being spotted at a protest in Los Angeles. He also spoke on other subjects such as Harry Styles wearing a dress and the actions of his brother that would suggest that Logan has become a more mature person with more nuanced and sophisticated takes. The podcast itself, except for Mike, is also a very interesting project that brings in a bunch of different valued perspectives, and Logan manages to treat them all as objectively as he possibly can. He's constantly admitting his flaws, and he's managed to avoid controversy for the most part since the Forest incident. Apart from a couple minor ones such as the rat tasing and the male-only march comment, he is also calling out bull when he sees it, all the while managing to maintain the goofy nature that he cited as being the founding part of his creativity. This all brings us to the past couple of months. As I mentioned previously, he was on the nationally televised program Masked Singer, even though he was still challenged about his controversial past. I'd count that as a win. He's been pulling 2 million views plus on his podcast, and he also just fought the second biggest boxer of all time and didn't get knocked out. It's not my place to say whether Logan Paul has earned redemption, as I'm not part of the numerous groups that he has offended in the mid-2010s. What I can say, however, is that I'm proud of watching him turn almost every aspect of his life around for the positive and making one of the biggest celebrity comebacks that the world has ever seen. And all we need now is Flat Earth 2.
The earth is flat, the earth is flat. People around the globe know the earth is flat. I don't care about this, I don't care about that. People around the globe know the earth is flat.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be cool, but if you don't want to, that's also alright. Thanks to my patrons Carl McGee and Weston Katecki. The link to my Patreon as well as my Twitter are in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.